My beloved child. Tonight, there is a table being set in a city you have never visited, and yet, the reservation was made in your honor. Do you understand what that means? It means you are the guest of honor at a gathering you have not yet been formally invited to, but somehow, deep within your spirit, you have already sensed its arrival. The chairs are being pulled out, the candles are being lit, and the air is thick with a nervous, beautiful excitement. But here is the strangest part of this whole scene: the man or woman who orchestrated this entire evening, the one you call your other half, is more anxious than you have ever seen them. They are pacing, checking their watch, and looking at the door, not because they are worried about the food. They are worried about you. They are worried you will not understand the magnitude of what is about to be revealed. You might be sitting there, in your ordinary moment, wondering what could possibly be so significant about a simple dinner with friends. But listen closely to the rhythm of my voice right now, because this is not a simple dinner. This is a declaration. This is the moment the silent prayers of your past finally receive a verbal answer in the physical world. For 5 years, your partner has been carrying a silent weight, a specific hope, a dream they whispered to the stars and the sky when they thought you weren't listening. And tonight, all those whispers are coming home to roost. But you have to ask yourself a question that will change everything: what did you finally do? You are probably running through a list of achievements in your head. A promotion, a healthy habit, a personal goal. But I need you to stop, because I need you to understand that this isn't about a job or a new car. This is about the day you finally chose yourself, fully and completely. It was an invisible moment, wasn't it? A day when you stopped shrinking to fit the world's expectations and started expanding into the person heaven always saw in you. That is the victory. And your soulmate, the one who is currently straightening the silverware for the 5th time, recognized it immediately. They recognized the shift in your aura. They saw the confidence in your walk. They noticed the peace in your silence. And they know that your victory is their victory. So they gathered their tribe, the witnesses to their own journey, to honor you. The friends who are walking through that restaurant door right now. They know the backstory. They have been on the phone with your partner for years, listening to the hopes and the fears, the dreams and the delays. They are not just coming for a meal. They are coming to see the prophecy fulfilled. They are coming to see the one who finally broke the cycle. But here is where the story takes a turn you might not see coming. As the waiter pours the water and the bread is passed around, a specific topic will rise to the surface. A name will be mentioned. And in that moment, the entire energy of the room will change. This is not a dinner to celebrate the past 5 years, it is a dinner to unlock the next 50. It is a celebration of your decision, but it is also a strategy meeting for what is to come. And while your soulmate smiles and clinks glasses, a secret will be held in their heart, a truth about their own life that they have been protecting you from. They are afraid to tell you, but they cannot help themselves because the joy is too big to contain. They have been waiting for this moment not just to praise you, but to ask you a question that will change the trajectory of your shared destiny. Are you ready for the clinking of glasses to sound like a starting gun? What if I told you that the friend sitting to your left, the one you just met, is actually the key to the door you have been knocking on for years? And what if the dessert menu is not really about sugar, but about a sweet opportunity that requires both of you to say yes? The conversation will be light, but the undercurrent is heavy. The laughter will be loud, but the silence between the words will speak volumes. You have arrived at the threshold. The dinner has begun. But the main course hasn't even been served yet. And as your partner raises their glass to make a toast, you will feel a strange sensation, a feeling that you are standing outside your own body, watching a story unfold that you wrote in a past life. The celebration is real. The love is real. But the hardest part of the evening is about to arrive, and it hinges on what happens when one of the friends, the one who never speaks, finally clears their throat to speak. You feel that? That pause in your chest? That is the room going quiet on the other side of the world. The celebration is happening, but the real reason for it is only just beginning to surface. And you are going to have to choose. Do you want to know the secret that has been hidden in plain sight? The friend who never speaks finally clears their throat, and in that single sound, you hear the entire history of your relationship. It is a quiet click, like a key turning in a lock you did not know existed. The laughter fades. The clinking of forks against porcelain stops. And your soulmate, the one who orchestrated this whole beautiful affair, suddenly cannot meet your eyes. They are staring at the condensation on their water glass as if it holds the secrets to the universe, and you realize, with a jolt that travels from your stomach to your throat, that you have been invited to this dinner not to receive a prize, but to be asked a question you never saw coming. The friend leans forward. Their voice is low, meant for you and you alone, even though the whole table is straining to listen. They say, "Do you know what they gave up to be here with you?" And in that moment, the room shrinks. The candlelight flickers, casting long shadows across the tablecloth, and you feel the weight of a truth pressing down on your shoulders. This is not about the promotion. This is not about the new habit. This is about the day you chose yourself, because your soulmate had already chosen you, 5 years ago, in a way you never understood. They were offered a door. A massive, golden, impossible-to-ignore door that would have taken them to the other side of the world, to a life of ease and recognition and everything they had ever dreamed of for themselves. But they looked at that door, and they looked at you, still struggling, still searching, still unready, and they walked away. They closed that door quietly, without telling you. They let you believe they stayed because they had no other options. They let you believe your love was convenient, when in reality, it was a sacrifice they made in the dark, hoping you would one day become the person who could stand beside them without needing to be carried. And now, 5 years later, you have finally become that person. The friend is still watching you, waiting for the realization to land. Your soulmate is gripping their chair so hard their knuckles have turned white, because they are terrified. Terrified that knowing the depth of their sacrifice will make you feel guilty, or worse, that it will make you feel obligated. But that is not what this evening is about. This evening is about release. They are not telling you this to burden you. They are telling you this to set themselves free, because for 5 years, they have carried this secret alone, and the weight of it has been slowly bending their spirit. They need you to know that your victory is not just your own. It is theirs, too. It is the reason they stayed. It is the reason they believed. But here is the part that will keep you up tonight. The friend has not finished speaking. They look at your partner, then back at you, and they smile a strange, knowing smile. That door, they whisper, it never really closed. It has been waiting. And now, it is opening again. But this time, it requires both of you to walk through. Your partner finally looks up, and their eyes are glassy with unshed tears. They reach across the table, their fingers brushing yours, and you feel the future crack open like a thunderclap. They are not asking you to move across the country. They are not asking you to quit your job. They are asking you to step into a version of life that requires you to trust them in a way you have never trusted anyone before. They are asking you to believe that the thing they gave up for you, the thing they never told you about, is not a source of regret, but a foundation for something even greater. The waiter arrives with the main course, oblivious to the earthquake happening at your table. And as the plates are set down, your soulmate finally speaks. They clear their throat, and their voice cracks like thin ice. I need to know, if you can forgive me for not telling you sooner. Forgive them? The question hangs in the air, shimmering with vulnerability. They are afraid you will see their silence as a betrayal. They are afraid you will wonder what else they have hidden. They are afraid you will pull your hand away. But you do not pull away. You hold on tighter. Because in that moment, you realize that the dinner was never about celebrating your past. It was about confessing a truth that could either break you apart or fuse you together forever. The friends are not just witnesses, they are guardians of this fragile, holy moment. They know that what happens next will define the rest of your lives. And they are watching, barely breathing, as you open your mouth to answer. But before the words leave your lips, the friend who spoke first interrupts. They place a small, worn envelope on the table, sliding it toward you. It is addressed to your soulmate, postmarked 5 years ago, unopened. And your soulmate gasps, because they thought they had destroyed this letter. They thought the past was buried. But heaven has a way of resurrecting the very things we try to forget, and that envelope contains a decision that was made for you, by someone else, long ago, that changes absolutely everything you thought you knew about how this story began. Your hand hovers over the envelope. The candle burns lower. The city outside the window hums with indifference. But in here, inside this moment, your entire universe is about to pivot. Open it, or leave it sealed. You don't have to decide right now. Because your soulmate reaches out, their fingers shaking, and gently pushes the envelope closer to you. I can't carry this alone anymore, they whisper. And you realize, with a chill that has nothing to do with the air conditioning, that their friends were not invited to celebrate you. They were invited to witness your choice. Your fingers tremble as they touch the paper, and the strange thing is, you already know what it will say before you open it. Not the words themselves, but the weight of them. The texture of the envelope is coarse, almost handmade, and it smells faintly of cedar and dust, as if it has been hidden inside a book for half a decade. Your soulmate is weeping now, silent tears carving slow paths down their cheeks, and the friend who slid it across the table is watching you with the intensity of a judge awaiting a verdict. You break the seal. Inside is a single sheet of paper, folded precisely into thirds. The handwriting is sharp, angular, and unmistakably masculine, the script of an older man who was never good at softening his words. It is addressed to your soulmate by their full name, and the date at the top is from 5 years ago, just weeks before the two of you met. As your eyes scan the first few lines, your breath catches, because this is not a letter of love. This is a letter of conditions. A father, a mentor, a figure of immense authority in your partner's past, laying down an ultimatum with cold precision. If you choose to stay with someone who cannot match your ambition, you will forfeit the legacy I built for you. I will not watch you squander your potential on a romance born of convenience. Prove me wrong, or walk away. You have 5 years. 5 years. The same timeline. The same quiet clock that has been ticking in the background of your entire relationship. Your soulmate never told you about this letter because they never wanted you to feel like a test. But now you understand the frantic energy, the late nights, the subtle pressure they placed on themselves, not on you, never on you, to become someone worthy of a choice they had already made. But here is where the letter takes a turn that no one at this table expected. You flip the page over, and on the back, in a different ink, a softer hand has written a reply. It is your soulmate's handwriting, younger and more desperate, but fierce with conviction. They wrote, I will wait 5 years, not to prove you wrong, but to prove that love is not a transaction. And when she rises, I will be beside her, not because she earned it, but because I believed in her when she couldn't believe in herself. You can keep your legacy. I am building my own. That was the declaration. That was the silent vow they made in the dark, alone, with no witness but the paper itself. And now, 5 years later, you have risen. You have become the person they always saw. But the legacy, the one that was offered and rejected, is still there, waiting. Because the man who wrote that letter, your soulmate's estranged father, passed away 3 months ago. And his will contains a strange, almost cruel clause. The inheritance, the empire he built, can only be claimed if the two of you come together to claim it, within 30 days of this dinner. The friend who gave you the envelope is not just a friend. They are the executor of the estate. They have been holding this secret for weeks, waiting for the right moment to present it. And this dinner, this celebration of your personal victory, was the perfect cover to deliver the final piece of the puzzle. Your soulmate finally speaks, their voice raw and cracked. I didn't invite them to celebrate you, they admit, their eyes locked on yours. I invited them to witness me ask you to build something new with me. Something that belongs to both of us. The money, the business, the legacy, none of it matters without you. But the deadline is tomorrow. The papers are in that envelope. And if we sign them together, we step into a life neither of us planned. The table is dead silent. The candle flickers, casting your shadow long against the wall. The friends are holding their breath, because they know what you do not yet know. The papers do not just grant you wealth. They require you to leave behind the very thing you just achieved, the promotion, the city you love, the comfort of your old identity, to move into a world that has already been designed for you, a world that will test your trust in ways you cannot imagine. The waiter appears again, clearing plates, oblivious to the chasm opening beneath your feet. Your soulmate pushes the envelope closer to you, a second time, and this time they are not asking you to read. They are asking you to decide. Will you sign it with me? They whisper. And as you reach for the envelope, the friend clears their throat one final time. There is one more thing, they say, and their voice drops so low you have to lean in to hear. Your soulmate does not know this part. But the legacy comes with a condition that was not in the letter. Your father-in-law had a final request. The room spins. The candle gutters and almost dies. And the friend pulls out a second envelope, sealed with red wax, bearing only your name. The seal cracks like a tiny thunderclap, and the room holds its breath. You slide your finger beneath the wax, and it gives way with a sound that feels louder than it should, a sharp, intimate snap that seems to echo off the restaurant walls. Inside this second envelope, the paper is heavier, cream-colored, and the handwriting is different. Softer. More deliberate. It is the hand of a dying man who knew his time was short, who wrote these words with trembling fingers and a heart full of things he never said aloud. To the one my child chose, it begins. And you stop reading, because the weight of that salutation presses against your chest like a physical force. He did not write to you as a stranger. He wrote to you as someone he had been watching, from a distance, for 5 years. He knew about your struggles, your doubts, the nights you cried when you thought no one was listening. He knew about the job you almost quit, the dream you almost abandoned, the version of yourself you nearly surrendered to. And he wrote to tell you that he was wrong. The letter continues, and each sentence is a confession, a reversal of everything he had once demanded. He admits that his ultimatum was born of fear, not wisdom. He admits that he watched your soulmate love you with a ferocity that reminded him of his own late wife, and that he began to wonder if his own legacy, built on ambition and control, was actually worth passing on. He writes that he spent his final years hoping you would prove him wrong, not out of spite, but out of hope. You have done what I could not, he writes. You have loved without condition, fought without surrender, and risen without stepping on anyone to get there. I was a fool to believe my empire was more valuable than that. So I am giving it to you, not as a test, not as a transaction, but as an apology. The final clause is the one that makes your soulmate gasp audibly. The legacy is yours. Both of yours. But there is a condition, and it is nothing like what you expected. It is not about moving cities. It is not about leaving your job. It is not about proving yourself worthy. It is about forgiving him. He asks you to forgive a dead man who cannot ask for it himself. He asks you to release the weight of his judgment, to let go of the invisible pressure that has been shaping your relationship from the shadows. He asks you to accept his gift not as a reward, but as a bridge, a chance to rewrite the story of your family before it even begins. The friend, the executor, speaks softly, breaking the sacred silence. He left a recording. A video message, recorded 3 days before he passed. He asked that it be played only if you both agreed to watch it together. Your soulmate is trembling now, their hand gripping yours so tightly it almost hurts. They are staring at the letter, at the words their father never said to them in life, and a sob escapes their throat, raw and unguarded, the sound of a wound finally being touched by healing. "Do you want to see it?" the friend asks, and the question is directed at you both. Your soulmate looks at you, their eyes swimming with hope and terror and the fragile possibility of a future that does not require them to carry this alone anymore. They are asking you, silently, if you are ready to walk through this final door together. The restaurant hums around you. A couple laughs in the corner. A waiter drops a fork, and it clatters against the tile. Life continues, ordinary and relentless, but inside your bubble, time has stopped. You look at the letter in your hands, at the words of a man who spent his last days learning to say he was sorry. And you realize that this dinner, this celebration, was never about your victory. It was about your capacity to forgive. The friend reaches into their briefcase and pulls out a small, unassuming tablet. The screen is dark, waiting. The candle sputters, casting dancing shadows across the table. The friends around you are no longer spectators. They are witnesses to a moment that will define your marriage, your family, and the legacy you will one day leave behind. Your soulmate squeezes your hand and whispers, "I'm afraid of what he might say. But I'm more afraid of not knowing." The tablet is placed in the center of the table, between the empty plates and the half-empty glasses and the small, worn envelope that started all of this. Your finger hovers over the play button. And the friend speaks one final time, their voice barely audible. He said to tell you, that he always believed in you. He just didn't know how to show it. The screen glows to life, and the face of a man you have never met fills the frame. He is older than you expected. Softer. His eyes are tired but kind, and he is smiling, a sad, hopeful smile that reaches through the years and touches something deep inside your chest. He opens his mouth to speak, and the first word he says is your name. Not your soulmate's. Yours. The face on the screen is older than you imagined, softer, weathered by years of decisions he could not take back. His eyes are the same shade as your soulmate's, that warm, deep brown that has always felt like coming home, and as he speaks your name, you feel the walls around your heart begin to crumble. "I know you do not know me," he says, his voice crackling with the fragility of a man who knows his time is borrowed. "But I have known you for 5 years. I have watched you from a distance, through the stories my child told me, through the photographs they shared when they thought I was not paying attention. I saw you when you were struggling. I saw you when you doubted yourself. And I saw you when you decided, quietly and without fanfare, to become the person you are today." He pauses, and you can see him fighting back tears. This is not the cold, calculating man from the first letter. This is someone who spent his final years learning that love is not about control, it is about surrender. 5 years ago, I wrote a letter that I am deeply ashamed of. I tried to control my child's future because I was terrified. Terrified of losing them to a world I did not understand. Terrified that they would make the same mistakes I made. But here is the truth I never had the courage to say: I was not afraid of you. I was afraid of myself. I was afraid that if they chose love over legacy, it would mean my own choices, my own sacrifices, were meaningless. He laughs softly, a hollow, self-aware sound that echoes through the speakers. I was a fool. Your soulmate is crying openly now, their shoulders shaking with the weight of decades of pain finally being acknowledged. You pull them closer, and they lean into you like a child seeking shelter. The video continues. He tells you about the night he decided to change. It was 3 years ago, a random Tuesday, and he was sitting alone in his study when he received a photograph from your soulmate. It was a candid shot of the two of you, laughing at something ridiculous, your heads tilted together, your eyes bright with a joy that could not be faked. He stared at that photograph for hours, and in that image, he saw something he had never experienced in his own marriage: genuine, unfiltered partnership. I realized that night that my child had found something I spent my entire life searching for. And they found it not despite you, but because of you. Because you showed them that love is not about earning it, it is about giving it freely, without conditions. He shifts in his chair, his breathing becoming labored. The doctor had told him to rest, but he insisted on recording this message. He wanted you to know that he had been watching your victories, too. The small ones. The ones you thought no one noticed. The morning you chose to get up early and fight for your dream. The evening you chose to forgive yourself for a mistake. The day you chose to believe in yourself even when the world gave you every reason to doubt. I know about the promotion, he says, a knowing smile crossing his face. I know about the habit you finally broke. I know about the courage it took to face the mirror and tell yourself that you were enough. And I want you to know that I am proud of you. Not because of what you achieved, but because of who you became in the process. He reaches for something off camera, his movements slow and deliberate. When he turns back, he is holding a small, worn journal, his personal diary, filled with decades of regrets and revelations. He opens it to a page near the end, and his voice drops to a near whisper. I wrote this on the night I decided to change my will. I wrote, the legacy I leave behind is not the empire I built. It is the love I failed to give. And I pray that my child and the one they love will build something better, something that does not require sacrifice, but celebrates it. The screen flickers slightly, and you see his face grow pale with exhaustion. He is running out of time, even within this recording. But he forces himself to continue. There is one final thing I need to tell you, he says, his eyes locking onto the camera with an intensity that makes your breath catch. The condition in my will, the one that requires you to claim the legacy together, is not about money. It is about trust. I need to know that you can trust each other with everything. The light. The dark. The past. The future. That is the only condition. And I believe, with every fiber of my being, that you can do it. He pauses, and a single tear rolls down his weathered cheek. So I am asking you, both of you, to look at each other right now. Hold each other's hands. And ask yourselves, are you ready to build something that will outlast both of you? The video ends. The screen goes dark. The restaurant is silent, save for the soft hum of conversation from a distant table. Your soulmate turns to you, their eyes red and swollen, their hand gripping yours like a lifeline. They do not speak, because there are no words for what just happened. They simply look at you, and in that look, you see everything, the fear, the hope, the love, the forgiveness. The friend who brought the envelope clears their throat softly. The will requires a signature, they say, placing a document on the table. It also requires an answer. Do you accept the legacy, and the life that comes with it? The document lies between you, simple and unassuming. 2 lines. 2 signatures. 1 future. And as you reach for the pen, you realize that this dinner, this celebration, this entire journey, it was never about the past. It was about the choice you are about to make. Your soulmate's hand finds yours, and together, you take the pen. The candle flickers one final time, casting a warm glow across the table, across the faces of friends who have witnessed something sacred, across the document that will seal your destiny. And as you sign your name, you feel a shift in the air, a gentle, almost imperceptible whisper, like a voice carried on the wind from a place far beyond this world. It is the voice of a man who finally learned to say he was sorry. And it is the voice of a future that is waiting for you, just beyond this table, just beyond this moment, just beyond the life you thought you were supposed to live.